How's it going? I'm Joe Noga from cleveland.com, and I'm joined by Matt Goul and Nate Cline. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we learned after week 5 of the high school football season. Matt, I know you were at the Maple Bedford game. What'd you learn in that game?
Well, actually, something I learned in that game is I learned on the Saturday game as well. That was at St. Ed's and Bergen Catholic, and that is how much depth is becoming an important factor at this point in the season. You look at St. Ed's, they lost 2 offensive linemen on Saturday, 1 in pregame, 1 during the game. Had to slide a kid over to center, punch in 2 new guards. Looking at Maple Heights, Cortez Long on Thursday night came up big for them. They were without Javante Richardson, their prize safety. Long plays safety as well, so they moved him over to Javante's spot. Came up with a big win to go to 5-0.
Nate, you got to see Benedictine and Columbus Waterston. Depth an issue for the Bengals as well. At tailback, their backups aren't there, but you got to see Dantes Rash score a couple of touchdowns. What did you see?
Close to 200 yards. He scored at the beginning of the game. He ended the game scoring again. You would hate to say they have a depth issue, but when you watch Dantes, and again, we were talking earlier, if he's really healthy, he's going to play. He's going to play, and he's going to help the team win. 2 scoreless quarters in the second and third quarter, but still, Benny was still able to put points on the board. So even in the eyes of coach, on a bad offensive day for them, they still were able to get the win. So that's what I was probably most impressed with.
I got a chance to go and see the big game down in Summit County, Hoban versus St. Vincent St. Mary. And what I learned in week 5 is that on Friday night, I got to see Hoban can play defense really well. On Saturday night, I got to see Walsh Jesuit and St. Ignatius. I learned that St. Ignatius is having a lot of problems defensively. I'll start with Hoban. They held St. Vincent St. Mary to 48 yards of offense in the second half. They gave up an early touchdown and on the Irish's first drive, and that was it after that. That's why Hoban moved to 5-0. Is in command in Region 7 in Division 3 and one of the top-ranked teams there. And fast forward to Saturday night, I go to Byers Field to see St. Ignatius and Walsh Jesuit. We already knew that Joe Penna for Walsh Jesuit was a back who carried the ball 54 times last week, 200 yards in that game. Ignatius knew it was coming and could not stop it, couldn't get off the field on third down. Walsh Jesuit converted 11 of 16 third downs in the game, 3 of 3 on fourth down, and Ignatius just had incredible problems getting off the field. When their offense was on the field, they'd go down the field and score right away. And that happened in the last minute of the game, 53 seconds left, 80 yards, and they had to go and score a touchdown. Dennis Grossell to Jimmy Berger, 38 yards to win the game with 8 seconds left. But if you're Coach Chuck Kyle and the Wildcats, you walk off that field feeling pretty nervous about the way your defense performed. Fellas, looking forward to week 6, what do you think you saw in week 5 that has to get better for the teams that you saw in week 6?
Well, I think the Bengals, going back to that game, even though they struggled on offense, they were able to find other options of trying to get the ball down the field. They continue to keep that. I think they'll continue to stay where they are right now, stay on top of the region, and also in the state as well, and ranked #1 in Division 3.
For me, I'll concentrate on Maple Heights a little bit. They're 5-0. They just came off a big win against Bedford. You would like to think it's downhill from here for them because obviously Bedford was the other top 25 team we had ranked in the LEL. But they've got to shore up the run defense just a little bit, I think, especially up front, because there were a lot of tackles in the secondary for that game last week, and I think that's one thing they got to do. I mean, Kiera Hawkins is a tremendous player. They had some nice plays from their front floor. It was usually batting down passes and things of that nature, but with the run defense, I think they need to get a little better penetration in the middle.
Well, tell us what you think, and log on in the comments section, leave us a question or two, and we'll look forward to after week 6.